The Moto RAZR Plus, after we'll call it just about 2 months of use. And having used now the Flip 5 and seeing what Samsung is providing this year, I can confidently say that this is a good buy. This is one that if you pick it up, $9.99, link will be in the description, does directly help the channel, so I do encourage you to use those links. But if you go ahead and get this device, I don't feel like you're missing out on anything that Samsung has provided in the Flip 5. And in a lot of ways, a lot of key ways, you're actually gaining by picking up a RAZR Plus. Are there still question marks that I look to and say, you know what, there are reasons why you pick up a Flip 5? Yes, there are software things. There might be durability things down the line. I can't say that because even though I had questions at first about this hinge, it's held up well. It hasn't changed how it's felt. It hasn't gotten weaker. I still like the experience overall with this device. It's just a different feel. And Samsung has changed the Flip 5 hinge to the point where it's a little, not weaker, but it feels different than it has in the past. So these are more on par than they were when it was the Flip 4 versus the hinge on the RAZR Plus. But software support is a big one, a question mark that you don't really have to worry about. I prefer, this is personal preference, prefer One UI over the experience that you get on Moto because this is closer to the Pixel experience, which I've not liked Material U. I've said that, but that's a personal choice. That's subjective. If the aesthetics of Material U don't bother you, then this is going to be a phenomenal software experience, especially since Moto keeps it clean. They don't put a lot of stuff on top that bogs down the user experience, which is really good. But otherwise, this is a phenomenal device, and if you're used to folds, if you're just looking for something different, something cool, this gives you a lot of the base smartphone experience in a foldable. And one of the things that I would like to point out, and it makes a difference to me, especially versus something like a Flip 5, is how wide the display is. It is a wide display, almost like your regular smartphone. It's not narrow like the Flip 5 is, and the Flip 4 have been. I like the fact that they give us a little bit extra typing space here, and it keeps the app experience good as well. So I've liked that a lot, that you get kind of a full app experience like you would on a slab device because they've kept it compact but a little wider. The one thing that I like, and is a major advantage for the RAZR Plus, is the outer display experience. Yes, I know. A bunch of people sent in comments saying, well, you can just use good lock on the whatever and it works and kind of whatever. It's not a cohesive experience. It doesn't feel like it was meant to be there. I say, Samsung, you want to say it's in beta, they haven't figured it out yet? Well, then figure it out. In the meantime, I'll use the RAZR Plus. I like that apps are ready to go. I hit one button and I could put a whole host of apps and have them in different orientations if I need it. I can have Instagram and use it around the cutout if I want. If it's blocking stuff like notifications, I could go ahead, pull it up, put it in default view, and I get the truncated view right on the outer display. 120 hertz, 1080p on the outer display. It looks fantastic. So if you're comparing the two and you're looking at it, I really like what Moto has done on the RAZR outer display. To me, it's the better experience so far. Then you open it up. This display is absolutely stellar. And 144 hertz, look, it's not something, you're not going to decide one phone over another because of 144 hertz, especially when the competition at this point is going to have you at 120 hertz. 144 hertz to me is like air-conditioned seats on a car. Am I going to choose one car that might be a great deal, or am I going to pass on a car that's a great deal and reliable and good build quality and all the rest that has all the features I want just because it doesn't have air-conditioned seats? No, I'm not. But if it's there, I'm going to grab it because on a hot day you turn them on. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You feel that it's cool to have. 144 hertz, same. Liquid experience on the inside. Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, don't worry about that. I know a lot of people point and they say, it's last year's processor. How could you use that? Performance is liquid on this device. You pair it with the 144 hertz display, and it is just silky smooth. You're not going to ask for any more performance. And with the 8 Plus Gen 1, you pick up battery efficiencies. Great. I'm looking at 6.5, 7 hours of screen on time. That's with the brightness. That's with a good mix of the inner display and the outer display. Great battery life. I've seen excellent battery life. In fact, the best battery life that I've seen on a lot of devices have been these Motos running that 8 Plus Gen 1. It is a good match. They have it optimized. They have it locked into their software, and it's a great experience overall. Build and design, it just has the pizzazz and the flair, look, especially in the Viva Magenta, that you would have loved to have seen from Samsung. I understand they have to keep it kind of safe. They have to keep it a certain way. They're looking to be the iPhone of foldables, and I get that, or the Apple of foldables, and I understand that. But if you're looking for something with a little bit of flair, looking for something that just wows you every time you pick it up, even in a space where you feel like you've seen a few things now and you've kind of gotten used to foldables, this is one that you don't get tired of carrying around. This is one that you don't get tired of opening up because of the wider inner display experience, because of the great external display, because of that fantastic vegan leather feel on the back of the Viva Magenta. It just has a lot going for it that you really, and I haven't gotten bored with it in 2 months now. We talked about spec and performance. The one thing that you're going to be lacking on the Moto, now it's not as bad as it used to be, but the camera's not great. The camera's not great. Samsung has really upped their camera game this year on the Flip 5 and the Fold 5, getting it close to an S23 Ultra experience. You're not getting that here. You're not getting 2020 Moto cameras, but they're not, they're kind of in between now. They're kind of in between something you get on a Flip 5 and something you would get on an older Moto device. So that's something to keep in mind. If you take a lot of photos, if photography is important to you, and it's coming down to a couple different categories, camera would sway you away from something like a RAZR Plus, where it would not sway you away from something like the Flip 5. We're going to have the full comparison between these two devices, but I want to do an update on this because it's a popular device. It should be. It's just really well built. It's thin. I love the buttons on it. I love the hinge. I love the aluminum. I love the frame, or it might even be stainless, but I love the metal frame on here. I love the position of the fingerprint sensor. I love the outer screen experience that I have on it. I love the widgets. I love the fact that I can have a full app experience. Do a couple apps hiccup? Is it not the smoothest in the world sometimes with a couple of them? Yeah, but that's few and far between. And Instagram, X, Twitter, email, Outlook, WhatsApp, messages, YouTube Studio, Discord, like so many of them work and work well on the outer display. 99% of what you're going to want to do is going to work and feel like it's an integrated part of the experience. Not like it's an extra, not like it's a widget, like it feels like on the Flip 5. This feels like it was meant to be used, the outer display. 3.6 inches, absolutely fabulous. So overall, I got to say, if you've been tentative about it, if you've been worried about a couple different things, if you've been worried about the build is holding up fine. I really haven't had complaints. At first I thought, but you know what? Tight tolerances are not always what they are cracked up to be. There is a reason why sometimes devices have looser tolerances. It's because it gives them that leeway that a little bit of dust can get in there. Some things can get in, and the mechanism will still work. So that may have been Moto's plan behind the hinge for the RAZR Plus. And then it basically comes down to software. Do you trust them with the updates? I can only speak for what they've done so far with this device and with the Moto ThinkPhone. It seems like they're starting to take it seriously again. It seems like they're back. I understand you've had painful experiences in the past. I've been right there. I've had them as well. But you can only judge on what they're doing now and what you can hope they project to do in the future. So to miss out on a really cool device that is an excellent software experience and an excellent experience in the hand and just an overall cool phone, to miss out on that because you have some doubts of what may be down the line. It's not even evidenced by what they're doing right now, but what maybe they go back to form in the future. I think you're robbing yourself if you don't take a serious look at the RAZR Plus for your flippable or foldable in 2023, because it has been that fun. It's a great device. They did a fantastic job, and it feels like a coherent product from front to back, from the front display all the way to the inner display. It just feels like they've done a much better job software-wise of making that an integrated part of the user experience. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.